Oh my God, welcome to another episode of Grindhouse Chic. I am your host, Robert Stein, as always, my co host, Matt Armstrong. And today we are without our other co host, Oliver Gruner, who is succumbed to the big C, COVID, and Brian Baldwin, who is off today. We have given him a day of rest because he deserves it. But, Matt, you were just telling me you just came back from scene four on this early Sunday morning.
I did, yeah.
Did you
I got
did you go by yourself?
no. I went with a buddy that I usually see him with.
Did you both like it, dislike it, or have you finally reached that point of indifference?
Uh, I think I'm leaning more towards in this phase of not liking them for the most part. I feel like it's been a pretty weak phase overall.
I, it was weird. Last night I had a show at the DC Comedy Loft, and I was talking to another comic, really funny girl whose name I can't remember her name actually because I can't pronounce it. Um, but we were talking about the Umbrella Academy, and I was talking about how much I didn't like it because it, while it tried to have the same flair of the comic book, it just didn't. And then she was like, "Oh, it got better in season two and three." And I might go watch it, but I have a hard time with these adaptations
Mhm.
because they drastically change them and to a point where I no longer care.
Right,
Like
yeah.
like the source material is it's so far removed from the source material. The only exception I'll give is The Boys, which is so far removed it's become its own thing.
Yeah, I'm still that's on season 3 now, right? Or
It
2.
it just finished season three.
All right. Yeah, I'm 2 seasons behind then. I watched the first one when it came out, loved it, and then kind of forgot about it.
Well, I avoided it because I watched the first episode. I'm like, oh, this is different. And it really bothered me. The character of Huey in the comic was based on Simon Pegg. And yeah, I know Simon Pegg is way too old to be playing it, but
Yeah.
don't have him in there as a reminder of as Huey's dad, who wasn't a character in the comics.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's what a lot of them are doing too, because I won't give anything away in Thor, but they're combining essentially like three different storylines, and they just don't work together. Like do one and build one, and you can visit the others later. But I don't know. I just feel like they're doing too much and it's straying too far from
Well,
anything.
what Marvel needs to do, and I know they're going to get there eventually, is they need to do Secret Wars where it's a hard reset and
Hmm.
recast the characters. And I think that's what they should have been doing all along. Why kill off Captain America when you can recast him? Why kill off Iron Man when you can recast him? Make
Yeah.
them go away for a while and then have them come back as new actors. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, that's what the James Bond franchise has been since the 60s. And I'm going to tell you there's a loose continuity between all of the James Bond movies, very loose, but they're all playing a variation of the same character.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. They need to do something because I think it's definitely at the point where it's stale.
speaking of something that I thought was going to be stale, the Clerks 3 trailer dropped this week.
I saw that.
I'm not the biggest Kevin Smith fan because I think he's a guy who's gone back to the well several times, and
Hmm.
as a filmmaker he's very inconsistent. But there's something about Clerks 3 that I want to see it. Do I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a good movie? I don't know. I don't know. But it feels like with the first Clerks and then to a lesser extent Chasing Amy, he has something personal to say, and that's what where his best movies come from. Sure, his other ones are funny, but they're kind of stupid. Like I
Yeah.
over the weekend after the trailer dropped, I I kind of got nostalgic and I went back and watched the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. While that movie is fucking terrible from start to finish, there are some really, really nice moments in it.
Hmm.
Like, have you seen it?
I have, yeah.
The scene where Jay and Silent Bob are talking to Holden McNeil and he is explaining to us what the meaning of reboot is. I'm like, all right, that's really nice.
Hmm.
The rest of it was just stupid, silly, and
Yeah.
not clever.
So do you feel the same way about like mall rats and stuff too? Do you find some sort of nostalgia with those as well? Were you disappointed by the sequel on that?
When Mallrats came out, I thought it was a phenomenal movie. Watching it where I have a better appreciation of film and writing, I think it's a hot mess. And part
Hmm.
of it was if you ever watch the work print, the longer cut of it, they cut a lot of it out and there was so much that didn't make sense in the movie. Like they kind of had to retrofit why I can't remember Holden Brody's girlfriend's dad why
Mm.
he hated him so much, and it felt like there were a lot of unanswered and unrealized moments to that movie. But even watching the longer cut, it's still not a good film.
Yeah.
It's a movie
Yeah, I
that
was
tries.
yeah, I was kind of thinking about now that we're on the topic, I was thinking about nostalgia like a lot lately and how like when Stranger Things came out, I was like super into it and I really really yearned for that, nostalgia that it brought and that aesthetic that it brought like, pure 80s kind of stuff. And I feel like ever since then, I have realized that nostalgia is just like the worst thing ever. And I really noticed it when I was super, super excited for the Beavis and Butthead movie, and I watched it,
See,
and it
I thought
showed me the wrongs of nostalgia.
I thought the Beavis and Butthead movie was brilliant. I'm even say it's probably one of my movies of the year because did it make me nostalgic for Beavis and Butthead? No, but what it was an ingenious way to bring them into the 21st century
Hmm.
without explaining why they hadn't grown old.
Yeah, that's true.
And I also thought it was a very good spoof on society. Like there's that scene where they are just going white
Yeah.
privilege, without understanding what it means. But then again, they were just making fun of 90% of people. If you look at the people on January 6th, that was all one big exercise in white privilege,
Yep.
and it fucking sucks. So I think this might be the best thing that Mike Judge has done with those characters. But if you were like I was talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh, is there music videos in the movie?" I'm like, "No, this is a direct
Nope.
sequel to the other movie."
Yeah. So
And
do you think there's a place for them in the 21st century though? Like there's, a series coming on, I believe HBO or is it Paramount
it's going to
soon?
be on Paramount Plus, and
Yeah.
I do think there is because I think Beavis and Butthead provide provide a social commentary of the time through the viewpoint of two of the biggest fucking idiots on the planet. Like going back to that movie, there was that scene where Beavis's hand was in the garbage disposal. And the lady is giving all this exposition of what happened to Beavis's mom. We don't hear any of it except we get the gist that she killed herself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think I've said it before. I think Paramount Plus is the best streaming service next to HBO Max right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
But going back to Kevin Smith, um, when Arrow released the first pressing of the Mallrats disc, which included a second disc that had the TV edit and the longer edit,
Hmm.
I thought they've done it. I thought they did a really nice job of encapsulating the history of that movie through the interviews and special features. And Kevin Smith, of course, is saying, "Oh, this might be the best movie I ever made," and I'm like, dude, you really need to go back and watch your movies. I still think Clerks is the best movie you ever made because you had everything riding on that. You,
Hmm.
you spent $28,000 of credit card debt and selling off your comic collection to make that movie.
I feel like he did a bunch of like super random stuff too that wasn't part of his Kevin Smith averse.
The View Askew, yeah, he did a Cop Out, which was terrible. Zach and Miri Make a Porno, which was basically Clerks without Clerks.
Oh, Tusk though. Tusk was good. Am I thinking of? Is that the one with Justin Long?
Yeah, Tusk is mediocre.
Yeah, it
And
was a good first watch.
which one?
It was a good like first time watch. You know, like going back, you're not going to be like it's not going to be the same because you've already seen the horrifying twist at the end.
I thought it was. God, I'm going to hate myself for saying this. Human Centipede Light. Um, I'm really glad he is not finishing up his Canadian trilogy.
What was going to be the third one in that?
I don't know. I mean, Yoga Hosers was should have been a career-ending movie. Oh, which was basically Clerks in Canada with a little bit of magic to it.
I did not see that one. I don't even think I realized that was him.
Well, I mean, how could you not? It stars his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter,
Yeah, I did not. I did not know that.
which they
Huh.
basically doing the same characters they played in Tusk.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. This one feels personal because it deals with his heart attack
Mm-hmm.
and basically turning Randall into Kevin Smith because that's who his proxy in the View Askew verse. View Askewniverse.
Excuse me.
View. That's what it's called. The View Askew universe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I really. I mean, I think I've watched the trailer half a dozen times, and I'm I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go to the Fathom event to go see it
Nice.
on
Yeah, I
September.
think that'll be a good one.
I hope so. I hope so. It was a movie I didn't ask for, but I'm kind of it I'm kind of glad. I kind of really want to see it, and it's because it's kind of like Linklater's Before series, where you follow these characters that you like on their life journey at different points. And while Clerks 2 was a disaster, there were still some really nice moments in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt like he was trying to make that one just to make a movie. It feels like in this one he might have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is the last time we see any of these characters. Because I don't want to see a 60-year-old Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably time to hang them up for sure.
Seriously, they're in their 50s now.
Yeah.
But I guess they're being true to themselves.
That's all you can be, you know?
It's just ridiculous, but I it's just ridiculous because I think Kevin Smith was this guy who made a really good movie. He was handed the keys to the kingdom and he fucking squandered it
Yeah.
because he's not that good of a director.
What do you think about Dogma?
Dogma would have been a much better movie with a better director behind it. I think he had a lot to say,
Yeah.
but I don't think I don't think he pulled it off. But
Well, maybe this one will be his shining star that he goes out on and
his producer, his old producer Scott Mosier. Do you remember the Grinch movie that came out a few years ago, the animated one?
Yeah.
Scott Mosier co-directed that movie. That's more of
Okay.
an achieve. I think that's a bigger achievement than anything Kevin Smith has done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't seen it, but he
Pretty
basically
good.
reimagined the Grinch better than the Jim Carrey one, which I did see, and obviously really updated the 1960s television special.
Hmm.
But
So he's going to be the producer on this new Clerks.
he is not. He's not involved with
Uh,
it.
uh,
I don't know if they had a falling out because I couldn't find anything on the internet. He didn't. He wasn't part of the Jay and Silent Bob reboot either,
hmm,
and that's as far as my research went.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, something happened.
probably maybe just wanted to go. I'm sick of making the same things over and over again. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go try my own thing.
Yeah. He said, "You want to reboot Jay and Silent Bob?"
It's not like they went
The end
away
was the
anywhere.
end of their friendship.
Um, have you watched anything good this week besides Thor?
um, Not really. I was on vacation all week. Didn't get any movies in. I pretty much just watched. Wrapped up a couple seasons of some TV shows, and that was it.
Um, on Friday night, I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. I I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I didn't know. I didn't realize it was a 2 hour plus movie.
Hmm.
I thought it was visually stunning. I thought the story was okay, a little bit confusing in places. Um, I thought everybody in there had a phenomenal. You know, everyone's acting was top notch.
Hmm.
I don't think I loved it as much as other people did. The Nick Cage movie is still my movie of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was really good. I thought that it did. Especially coming off of the horrendous Spider-Man movie. I felt like this did a multiverse movie much better. Um, who was your favorite character, and why was it either Waymond or Grandpa?
Actually, it was the daughter,
Yeah, that's
and I spent the first hour of the movie wondering how I knew who the daughter was, and then thankfully to the internet and the Internet Movie Database, I figured out. Well, I didn't figure out. I saw that she was one of the characters on Miss Maisel.
hmm,
Completely unrecognizable in this
yeah.
movie. But I thought all the characters were good. Thematically, it was a nice story about family disappointment and misunderstanding, and how the sins of the parents become the sins of the child, and it keeps on moving. You know, the story keeps on repeating itself.
Hmm.
Um, and here's the thing: I thought all the characters were nicely fleshed out, and it was very surprising that the husband was the kid from Indiana Jones and Goonies.
Yeah. Short round.
Yeah. He is
Yeah.
he is a lot younger than Michelle Yeoh. And in the movie he looked older than Michelle Yeoh.
Hmm.
But no, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really creative. In 20 years from now, if there's still a world, that this is a movie that's going to be discussed in film classes. It's that kind of movie.
Yeah.
Um, how did it do did it do well in theaters?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, I believe it was number one for a couple weeks at least, and I mean, I'm sure it's not making like Marvel money, but
It is better than Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness
I do agree on that one also.
because it shows more of the multiverse, and I really don't want to live in a world where everyone has hot dogs for fingers.
Man, I was just gonna ask if you wish they would have spent a little less time in the Rock universe and more time in in the hot dog finger universe.
I do love hot dogs, but that actually proves something that scientists would say about the multiverse, that not all worlds would have life in it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's something that comic books get wrong. Is every Earth is just a variation of this one. But no, I thought that was nice, and I thought that was really creative, especially when the googly eyes started appearing on the rock.
Yeah. So it looks like box office. It's just about 100 million. Budget was 25 million.
So it made money.
Yeah, that's like a nothing budget too.
For a movie that looked like that, they
Yeah.
they made every dollar count. It's going to be interesting see what the Daniels do for their next movie.
Yeah. Did you log this on Letterbox?
I did. I said brilliant. I wish I saw it in the theaters. That was.
Did you notice that the reviewed thing is one of those eyes?
I did not. I did not.
Yeah.
I did not. I watched it because I was killing time. We produced our last comedy show at the Memphis Pub in Memphis, Michigan, and I was supposed to be zoomed in at one point, and it never happened because we had a great headliner from here in DC, and really really heavy guy, and I guess he wasn't doing the best after this show, so they kind of they were tending to him. So I understand that. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I've been majorly depressed, as we've gone over before, but I don't want to talk about that. But no, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to watch it again because I know I missed stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hard parts was it kept on shifting between Chinese and American and English, and I was not. For some reason I thought this was just going to be a full on English movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of thought the same, and then it started right off in Chinese, which I thought was going to be, just kind of in their house kind of deal, and they were going to try to conform to American ways outside of their house, but it did kind of it did happen a lot in the movie, which I
Yeah,
know always turns a lot of people off. My wife refuses to watch anything with subtitles.
but it was such a creative film. Um, I think if I was going to pair it with something, the normal reaction would just to be to pair it with another, like would be a classic Michelle Yeoh or kung fu film.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably pair with one of the Jaredowski films, like either El Topo or actually Holy Mountain, because
Mm-hmm.
thematically I could have put something together with the two of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I really enjoyed it. I also watched again for nostalgia and because I finally dug it out of a box was the movie Go with Sarah Polley and Katie Holmes.
I haven't seen that in so long.
I hadn't seen. I don't think I've watched it since the Blu-ray came out because I think I only watched it once,
Mm-hmm.
and I was amazed of how many people who became famous out of this movie and how many people who didn't. Like Melissa McCarthy has one scene, and she's the biggest star. Then the guy who played Todd, who was on Justified. He's been in a really good character actor. And then
Oliphant? Is that his name?
Timothy Oliphant, yeah. And then
Yeah.
Taye Diggs. And then everyone else to a lesser extent. Like Katie Holmes, you can't even consider her a star anymore. Sarah Polley is more of a director and writer, but I really fucking enjoyed it. Like I forgot how. I mean, this movie is pure Tarantino light, but it seemed going where the world has gone. It seems like such an innocent film these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like do you sit there and wonder, like when you look at films like from the '90s, of how these characters would react to how the world became today?
Yeah, I have noticed that actually. I actually sit around and think about that about like old historical figures too for no reason.
Well, if you go read my review on Letterboxd, I talk about how I saw this movie with a friend that I hadn't talked to, that I don't talk
Hmm.
to anymore for various reasons. And I kind of wonder, like, what happened to these characters? Did they remain friends? Where did their lives go? And I'm going to go back to Linklater's Before series and Clerks. At least with those three films, we got to keep we get to keep up with these characters in through their lives and see how, in some ways how they parallel our own.
Hmm.
Like the third one, Before Midnight, proves there's really no such thing as a happy ending. They're together, but is the relationship full of promise that we saw in Before Sunrise and Before Sunset? I mean, if
Yeah.
you look at those two, those movies are the fantasy. Before Midnight is the reality, which is why it's the hardest one to watch of the three.
Yeah. So is that something you would wish movies would do more? Like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of ragged on these Clerks movies and Mallrats coming out like 10 years after each other. Do you kind of wish that
Oh,
these movies?
Mallrats came out 3 years after, 2 or 3 years after Clerks.
Oh, I just mean like in their own like Mallrats and Mallrats 2 or what like
Well, there's no Mallrats 2.
isn't there?
Nope. There's always been talks of one, but no, there's never been a Mallrats 2.
Oh, maybe I'm just thinking of Silent Bob reboot
You're
then.
thinking about Jay and Silent Bob's
Yeah.
Strike Back.
Oh, yeah, that might be it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that just completely discredits my question. Well, I was just gonna say, like, do you like so for Go, for example, do you wish something like this would like, have a sequel 20 years later so you can see what happened to the characters or
No, not necessarily, because every time there's a sequel, in some ways it diminishes the first movie.
yeah.
It's like it would like there being a sequel to Swingers. As you know, they were playing comedians and people as actors. If we did a sequel, we'd find out one of them became successful, one of them was on the fringe of success, and the others just kind of faded away because that's what life is. And
Hmm.
I don't think as much as I want to know, because again those characters were so likable. I'd rather draw my own conclusions to what happens to them.
Yeah.
Now, the only exception to this, I would like Richard Linklater to do. I don't want to use this word sequel. A continuation to Dazed and Confused,
Hmm.
and it's the only one that has a logical way to do it. A high school reunion or a funeral for one of the characters, and that way you can get some of them to gather again and tell a story. Like I remember reading or hearing that he wanted to do like a video in 1986, like to see where all these characters came up. He didn't know if he didn't say it was going to be a full movie, but he wanted to do something, and it never happened. And I thought it would have been interesting.
Yeah. It still like baffles me that that movie is from the 90s.
Why?
Every time I don't know, every time I watch it, I just always think like, oh man, what a good 80s movie. And then I remember, oh, this was like mid 90s.
It was '94 because I was living in St. Louis, and
Yeah.
I remember seeing I was so excited because Slacker was such an important film to me.
Hmm.
And if do you own Slacker, the Criterion of Slacker and Dazed and Confused?
I have Dazed and Confused. I don't think I have Slacker though.
You should go to the Criterion sale right now at Barnes and Noble and pick it up. It's a great movie. I was going to ask you this: do you feel an urgency to upgrade to 4K for every purchase?
Um, I want to say no. Um, Mostly because I pretty much sold off the majority of my collection a couple years ago when I decided to get out of it. So a lot of these, when they announce the 4Ks, are somewhat new to me again. It'll be the only copy I have. Um, But that being said, I have ordered every single 4K that Criterion's put out, and um, of the ones that aren't new, I think I already had all of them that were on Blu-ray before.
I I,
So I don't know. I'm torn.
I haven't done it because if I did, my budget would be blown completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I would love to own the 4K of Citizen Kane, but I
Mm-hmm.
still haven't opened the Blu-ray I have of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why? What's the point?
Yeah, and I think it depends also if it's like um are they pretty much all new scans or a lot of them just kind of up converting
I have
2K
no
scans?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because that was something I started to look at on Blu-rays when I first started going in. Like, I don't need to upgrade this if it's not a new scan. I'll just keep my DVD.
I did I when back when I bought my first Blu-ray player and stuff would start coming out on Blu-ray. I started upgrading,
Mm-hmm.
and with the cost of 4Ks, because they're still pretty pricey.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be very selective because one, as much as I would love them all, I can't justify it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I've admittedly gone overboard.
Well, we all, I mean, that's the thing. Like when you look at Vinegar Syndrome, it makes it so easy to shop for it. It's really easy, especially if you had the sub 50,
Mm-hmm.
which really isn't 50% off because it's 50% off the MSRP.
Yep.
Yeah,
Makes it feel like such a deal though.
it does.
Even now that I am subbed again and I have been scooping up all the partner labels again. You're saving $7 per movie, but I don't know, you could save way more during the
I,
half off sale pretty much.
I also don't feel the urgency to buy all the partner label stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have, like, I went crazy this month because there were so many good ones, but I have to look at it again. It's like, all right, heavy metal parking lot, yeah, that was a must buy. The Agfa one, that was a must buy. Did I really need everything else that I bought? Probably not. They sounded interesting,
Yep.
and I buy a lot of them because it's fear of missing out, and I somehow have to wrap my head around is it's okay to miss out on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's why I have this collection of records that I can't listen to because I open up the page and it says oh, there's only 32 copies out of 50. I better grab one of those.
Yeah, but it's also you bought the Miami Connection one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's on Spotify.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think at some point Vinegar Syndrome is gonna realize, fuck, we're making money off of this, but our own stuff isn't selling as much
Mhm.
because we're right now entering a period of inflation, and the costs are going to go up on this stuff. It's beyond it, and I'm not going to pay $40 for a disc.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay $30 for a disc unless it's really really special. I'm going to subscribe again next year because this year the main Vinegar Syndrome label has been killing it. But
Mm-hmm.
when I buy from them, that's my priority. The partner stuff isn't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And they especially just, they just keep adding more partner labels too. And it does get hard to pick and choose what you're going to get.
Yeah, but actually, it's sticking to the labels that you watch almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, Agfa is it, and uh, what's the one that a Culture Shock is one,
Mm-hmm.
and Pulse. I mean, I've been enjoying. I mean, French porn from the '70s and '80s is far superior to American porn from that time period. There are TerraVision and Circle Collective occasionally, but I mean, I enjoy the Canadian label, but I think they're the next one I'm going to drop.
Canadian. Yeah, I haven't watched any. I have these, but I haven't watched any of them yet.
How big is your unwatch pile?
It's pretty much my entire collection at this point.
Um, let's actually talk about we were going to talk about this last week, but we got totally derailed. We were going to talk about the out of print discs in our collection that we love. I have not pulled mine. I made a
Yeah,
list.
same.
I made a list of them, and I realized this the other day. Eventually, every disc in our collection is going to be out of print,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's interesting because at some point the labels are going to go, why? What's the point of keeping this in print when more people are streaming it than buying it? Like
Yeah.
there is a lifespan for them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Unless Vinegar Syndrome just keeps scooping them up.
I don't know. Let's go over what are some of the ones in your collection that you have.
Um, so I noticed the majority of mine that I wrote down are Criterion. I think the two big ones that I have are the Man Who Fell to Earth and the Third Man Blu-rays.
Those were the three of the first Blu-rays with Chungking Express,
Mm,
and it's weird. Someone else released both of them, the third man and the Man Who Fell to Earth, and then eventually
yep.
Criterion has re-released Chungking Express. But I will bet you $1 that at some point this year there will be a 4K of the third man
Yeah.
that will come out from Criterion. I think they might have the rights back because it played on the channel about a year or two ago.
Mm. Yeah, that would be nice. And um, another one that I had that kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Le Cercle Rouge I have on Blu-ray, still sealed, never watched it, and I just ordered it on 4K. So it's like, how do I even know I like this movie? And I'm still just like buying multiple copies of it.
I have it in my collection as well, unwrapped, and I'm like, again, why? That was the point where I was buying everything. And
Yeah.
do you think every time a 4K comes out, the Blu-ray loses its value, or because there might be less of the Blu-rays around, they might hold their value?
Um, well, it seems like from the ones I've seen, they're kind of holding their value. I mean, like the Scream Factory double feature that like Schizoid and X-Ray went out of print, and Vinegar Syndrome just put that Blu-ray out or the 4K out, and I think I looked recently, and that Blu-ray is still selling for like 70-80 bucks.
And because there are different extras on there, right?
I think there were a few extra, yeah.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I guess that one is kind of different, but it seems like if from the or from the boutique labels, at least they're holding some value. I don't know if like a copy of like, I don't know, some super mainstream movie. I don't know if it would be the same story, but
No, but here's the thing: once those go out of print, there might be a desire for them because as much as I think the physical media bubble is going to burst within the next 15 to 20 years, I also think the streaming bubble is going to get too pricey for people to keep on subscribing to so many different services.
mm-hmm.
I believe at some point it's going to be one or two, and then that's it. Like I have the Criterion channel. I can't tell you how many times I've actually watched in the last year.
Yeah, same. I have never watched it, and I pay for it every month.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go over some of my collection, and the
Yeah.
first one I think is going to be. I have a feeling Criterion's going to put it out sooner than later. I think we're going to see a John Woo box set. So Hard Boiled and The Killer from Dragon Dynasty
Hmm.
are the first two.
I would love that.
It's. I know they have a deal with Golden Harvest, as does Arrow. So one of the two is going to put them out. I think.
Hmm.
Because we do need a Better Tomorrow 1, 2, and 3 on Blu-ray. Because as far as I know, there has not been a legit release in the States for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second one on my list is from Indicator, the Sinbad trilogy, which has been out of print, but you can still buy it on Amazon UK. All right, what's next on your list?
Um, I've got, well, I'll just throw this one out since we were just talking about it. I have the Warner Brothers 70th anniversary digibook of Citizen Kane. Never watched it, still sealed up,
Uh,
and ordered the Criterion 4K.
I also have the digibook because it also came with the Magnificent Ambersons on DVD from Amazon.
Hmm. Ooh,
And
nice. I don't.
I didn't think that was ever going to be released, but you should pick up the Criterion Ambersons as well. It's a
I do have that one.
that one's a really good feature. Hopefully one day
Nice.
they can restore the Wells cut if that footage exists.
Hmm.
The next three in mine from Agfa. This one's for our friend Joel Batpussy. And then from Arrow, the Killer Dames box set with the Red Queen kills seven times, and the night Evelyn came out of the grave. I also have the DVD from No Shame that came with a little action figurine, which is also out of print. And then also from Arrow, the original pressing of Society, the original pressing of Dawn of the Dead, and then Dogma from Kevin Smith, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe briefcase.
Ooh, you got one of those?
Yeah, that was an impulse
Nice.
part. All right, all right. What's next on yours?
um, Let me see. I got probably my favorite movie when I was a kid. I have the Disney Diamond Edition of The Jungle Book on Blu-ray.
Okay,
Um, Came with a book, and
cool.
apparently it's out of print. Um, complete 180 from that movie. I have the out of print from Troma. Um, and I can't think of the director who did this. I want to say it was like Astron 6 or something. The Father's Day Blu-ray.
Okay, I didn't even know there was a movie called Father's Day.
Yeah. It's about this serial killer who murders fathers on Father's Day.
Good for
Um,
them.
Pretty graphic, pretty good watch to like watch with a group of people. Um, yeah.
Okay. Next on mine is from Draft House Films, Miss 45. I I hope Vinegar Syndrome re-releases it because it deserves a 4K and also deserves a definitive release. This one I was shocked to find out it was out of print. The Tarantino XX box set.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I have one of those.
At the time, it was like you could get everything there in one stop. You could get his
Yeah.
version of Death Proof, um, True Romance, because I think at that point True Romance might have been out of print, but I don't remember. And then also from Draft House Films, a band called Death. I love the tagline. Before there was punk, there was a band called Death, which is a really good documentary. From Kino, the Hal Hartley Film Trust, the Ralph Bashki Lord of the Rings, from Scorpion Sorceress, and then the Best Buy Vengeance trilogy Blu-ray with Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and Lady Vengeance.
Nice. I was gonna say, I remember trying to hunt one of those Quentin Tarantino box sets down in the day. They were everywhere, but all the stores put that like super tight like spider web security thing around it and just dented all the boxes in.
Best Buy didn't. I bought mine at Best Buy.
Yeah.
And then for
Yeah,
two years I would see it on a shelf. I think I saw it up until about a. I think the last one I saw was at a Best Buy in, I want to say Westland, Michigan, and then about a week later they got rid of all their DVDs except for one fucking shelf. Like there
nice.
would always be one store in the area that had more than all the other stores, and those were the first stores to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it happened quick.
It did, and it's going to happen even quicker when they get rid
Hmm.
of the. At some point they're just going to have the middle shelves and not the bigger ones, and
Yep.
it'll just be new releases.
Yep.
And when they're gone, they're gone. All right, what
One
else?
day.
What else? What other print ones do you have?
Uh, kind of a random one. I have this Blu-ray DVD combo with the slipcover of Willow that is apparently out of print. Um, I'm sure that one will go down in value. Sure someone will pick it up and put it back out again. Um,
Especially with the new series coming out.
yeah. Um, and I guess that one might be a good test of if it holds value or not. I'm sure that one will get a 4K sooner than later.
I mean, Disney owns it now, right?
Yeah, that was
Or is
20th
it? Or is it?
century.
No, the series is coming out on Netflix though.
Yeah, it is.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't
Interesting.
know. So yeah, it says the movie was 20th century.
Huh.
I don't know.
Maybe the deal was struck before before Fox sold it.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
can't let Disney take everything. Um, Another Criterion one is the Zatoichi box set, um, which I think went out of print pretty um, kind of out of nowhere. I think I got it during the last Barnes and Noble sale for half off, and now it's out of print.
It's weird. There are a few movies that I had in my collection. I still have in my collection that went out of print within weeks of getting released. I didn't add it to my list. One of them was Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, and the
Mm-hmm.
other was Destroy All Monsters.
Hmm.
Like they within weeks they went out of print.
Never been released again.
There has been none of those early Peter Jackson movies are currently like Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, Dead Alive are currently in print. Now I've heard rumors that Arrow is putting out a box set of them because I know they've been remastering them, and
Hmm.
I hope that comes to pass this year. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I have a DVD of Dead Alive, or a Blu-ray of Dead Alive.
Yeah, then you have the out of print one.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I still have my DVD of Bad Taste from Anchor Bay, and I have a DVD of Meet the Feebles that I'm pretty sure is a bootleg. Right. Next on my list, the Second Sight Deluxe Dawn of the Dead, and that's the only one in this list that I paid after market prices for because I was
how how much did it get up to?
I think I paid 125 for it. Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um then the Digibook for King Kong, the Ray Harryhausen collection that was from I think Warner Brothers.
Hmm.
Um from either Kino or Olive Films, Cotton Comes to Harlem. And the next two I'm very nerded out is the the Blu-ray set of Doctor Who seasons 1 through 7. Um, these were all up until the Matt Smith years. They were all upscale, except for the David Tennant specials at the end. All upscaled, but it came with a remote control sonic screwdriver and a comic book, and that went out of
Nice.
print pretty fucking fast. So I spent way too much money on it when it was released, but I'm such a Doctor Who fan, I had to have it.
Yeah.
And then the complete Matt Smith Blu-ray collection, only because it came with a bonus disc that was not found in any of the other sets that came out, so I stupidly bought that.
Not a good buy.
No, it was, but I already had them. Like I when the Blu-rays came out, I bought them individually. Then I got them again in the set, which was the complete Blu-ray set up until that point, which was basically the entire Dave, well, the entire Christopher Eccleston season, the entire David Tennant years, well, the original David Tennant years, and then the Matt Smith stuff, not including the specials that ended his tenure.
Hmm.
No, the
Nice.
specials that ended his tenure were there, not the specials that came out with Matt Smith, like Day of the Doctor, and it didn't conclude the Matt Smith era. The Matt Smith set did it, and then from Scream Factory, Blackula, and Scream Blackula Scream, I'm gonna guess Vinegar Syndrome will pick those up, and that'll be one of the November or October releases.
Hmm.
And then the Halloween box set and the Al Adamson box set. And then the 5-year, 5 films and Executioner Part 2.
Ooh, you always rub that one in my face. I'll have them all.
You will never collect every spine number of Vinegar Syndrome.
I'll
It,
find
it,
a way.
you won't, because the do you have the Jekyll and Hyde portfolio on Blu-ray?
Um, was that a VSA?
No, it was just a regular. It was a limited edition Blu-ray at that point. I did not collect. I don't own it. I didn't collect it. Same thing with Runaway Nightmare. Just two movies I don't have in my collection
Yeah.
because
Then,
they were out of print by the time I started collecting.
Jekyll and Hyde portfolio.
The Blu-ray was, yeah, out of print for the DVD is still in print as far as I know. The same thing with Runaway Nightmare. Neither one good movies, but
Hmm.
the reason I'm going to say you'll never collect them all, because there are the few that had the exploitation TV spine number on it, which is why I can never get rid of my original pressings of Corruption and Frightmare.
I'm gonna track them down and I'm gonna just spend hundreds and hundreds just to prove you wrong.
Well, no, you can do that. I mean, same thing. Now, are you going to include the exquisite pictures in there as well? The 4 or 5 releases they did with that.
Well, I don't know what those are, so.
That was their first sub label,
Hmm.
which had the movie Some Call It Loving, a Dennis Hopper documentary, a musical version of Othello directed by Patrick McGoohan, and then a movie about surfers. You can probably still find the surfing one. That one sucks. But
I do see Some Call It Loving on here.
Some Call It Loving, if you can get it, is phenomenal. Is phenomenal. But I think, hold on for 1 second. I think I need to say something to you. Um,
I'm ready.
hold on. I need to pull it up. It kind of ties into what we're talking about. So, I don't know if you know this, Matt. Like the sand can sleep right through your fingers, so can all your days. As those days go by, you'll have me there to help you find the way I feel with you. I know it's got to last forever. Because you know what? And the rain begins to fall. You'll ride my rainbow to the sky. And I will catch you if you fall. You'll never have to ask me why. And when the rain begins to fall, I'll be the sunshine in your life. You know that we can have it all, and everything will be all right. Yes, we are talking about Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
That was beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. I was searching Spotify the other day, and there are a lot of covers to this song. a lot of covers to the song. I don't remember this movie ever coming out, but after watching it, I remember seeing it before.
Hmm.
This might be the greatest movie of the halfway sale. This might be
I've
one
got
of
to agree.
the. So I have to ask you this: do you think they built this whole movie around a music video?
I do believe so. Yeah, I think they built it around, and I don't know if you watched any of the interviews in the special features, but it
I,
seems like they pretty much built it around what was it, like Curb Records? Is that what it was called?
that I didn't know.
Yeah, so it seemed like it was pretty much a like a demo reel of, hey, look at all these new bands I just signed. Let's put them in this movie.
Well, I was shocked that the original name of the movie, and I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, was called When the Rain Begins to Fall.
Yeah.
I think they smelled a hit single.
Yeah.
But this movie kind of had everything in it. It had Pia Zadora, who I'm just going to tell you was smoking in this film. It had Craig Schaefer. It had Ruth Gordon, Michael Berryman, Alison LaPlaca. A lot of people who never went on to anything else. And it also had Ralph Pace as the store salesman. And I was going to do some research on him because I think he was in one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Hmm.
No, he wasn't. He was on an episode of the Dukes of Hazzard. 2 episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard. Um, the Guyana tragedy, the story of Jim Jones, the night the lights went out in Georgia. Um, this TV version of Six Pack with Don Johnson. Mutant. North and South Book One, an episode of Heat in the Heat of the Night, and the Return of the Swamp Thing as Sheriff Beaumont. For some reason, I thought he was in the Sid and Marty Krofft show,
Hmm.
Far Out Space Nuts, because no, that was Chuck McGann. But no, Far Out Space Nuts. If you've ever seen it, was basically Gilligan's Island in space, where they were cleaning up a rocket before it was going to be before blast off, and then Gilligan pressed the launch button because he thought it was the launch button, and then they went into space and ended up on a planet with life in it and had an alien buddy. So it's basically Gilligan's Island in space, which later became a cartoon. But no, I thought it was that guy. So he was a nobody. So Ruth Gordon is the last big one. Michael Berryman and Alison LaPlaca. But this movie had everything in it that I want in a movie. It
Yeah,
had
I didn't know which storyline I wanted to dive into more.
was there really a storyline?
I think combined, no, but um, I feel like you could have split off into four different directions and had like four different movies, really.
Yeah. Yeah. But somehow they made this work.
They did, because it did work.
Because, first of all, we don't need to go over the plot of this movie. There have been so many other YouTube movie shows where they just really delve into it. And as we talked about last week on our last episode, You and I are not regurgitators. We are not experts. We're fans like everybody else. We just have our own thoughts on it. But basic premise, there are these aliens. Somehow they heard rock and roll. Even though they had a spaceship that looked like a guitar. Hold on. But it looked like a guitar. Um, they ended up on Earth. Somehow the leader, the captain of the aliens, was in love with Pia Zadora's character because he saw her and Jermaine Jackson singing "When the Rain Begins to Fall on Another Planet," even though he wasn't awake when they watched that video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say, even though Craig Schaefer and his band might have been the meanest, most evil rock and roll band ever, they lived up to what rock and roll was the cliche of the rock star. They were all bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, and there were. So with all of the obvious like plot points, all of the obvious like different directions the movie took, it, like you said, it still somehow found a way to work.
So when I watched it, I went in with zero expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, this is going to be bad. And compared to everything else that was released that month, and I think Vinegar Syndrome, I thought the May month, with the exception of Stanley and Horror High, I thought it was a great month for them. I mean, just quality release, and I can't even talk about how much I love the deluxe setups of Miami Connection, Cloak and Dagger, and Thriller, A Cruel Picture. This one just was like, first of all, it's a nice companion to Miami Connection. I think the two of them make a great double feature.
Mm-hmm.
And two, this is a movie that deserves to be seen, that deserves to be rediscovered. And as we talk about what Vinegar Syndrome's mission was, this is a movie that fulfills that mission.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't know how much more of this kind of stuff is out there, but I want to see Vinegar Syndrome pick up more of it.
Well, I was thinking about it. Like, I was thinking about like a lot of movies that, you know, kind of played back in the day on cable. And there was one called The Experts. It starred John Travolta, and I can't remember who the co-star was, but they were like club owners and they needed to get out of town, and they accepted this job from a small town in America that turned out to just be like in Russia where they were training spies. Okay. I would love to see that released. Again, because it's been kind of forgotten by everybody else. And when you look at stuff like Vinegar Syndrome, they released a lot of horror, a lot of bad action movies, a lot of schlock.
Mm-hmm.
But this month in May, you had Cloak and Dagger, which was a perennial cable favorite, and Voyage of the Rock Aliens, which was a movie a lot of us saw on cable, and in my case, I somehow forgot about it. Which I learned last night is a character flaw in me. So I'm kind of going on a tangent. Do you mind if I go on a tangent?
Do it.
So yesterday I started texting with this girl who, at first I did not remember who she was, but she was someone I went to college with, and we were friends in college. And last night during text, she was talking about this one event, and I remember this event so fucking clearly. One of my roommates was freaking out because he decided to take acid by himself, and I remember that evening so well. I didn't remember her being there. Because in the story, it was just me and my roommates and him. And she was talking about it. She's like, "Oh yeah, remember that night we went to this house and this guy named Jeff was freaking out, and you said everything would be okay." First of all, I was 19 years old. I should not have been a person going, "Everything is going to be okay," because I had no idea. This guy was freaking out that some midget was running around and trying to steal his breath.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, Jeff was a jerk. Because, yeah, to be fair, but I did not remember her being there. I remember everything. I remember everything else like it was yesterday because I was freaking out that he was freaking out. And this girl telling me that I had composure to say everything was going to be okay. First of all, makes the story a lot better, but also really shows the holes I have in my memory. Mm-hmm. Much like Voyage of the Rock Aliens. But now that I think of it, like, this must have been my introduction to Pia Zadora, because her other movies were complete and utter shit.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, like, what did she become famous from? Was she like a singer and then turned actor? Because the literal only thing that I have ever seen her in, and this is gonna show how much I am unfamiliar with her, was she had like a bit role in Naked Gun 33 and a third. And that's all I've ever seen her in.
I remember her being in some movies that I thought where she might get naked. Let's talk about a few of them. The Lonely Lady.
Sounds like it could have happened.
Yeah.
Did it not?
I don't remember it. I remember being disappointed by it. That might have been it, The Lonely Lady. Because she became a musician. I know her husband was like majorly rich.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she did not need to work. She was also in Pajama Tops, which is a TV movie, and Fake Out, and Butterfly. I've seen Butterfly, which was made in 1981. And she was in Santa Claus Conquers the Martians in 1964.
So I was like looking her up. I tried to do like a little bit of research to talk about this movie. Well, I just don't have any idea who she was. And apparently, like you were saying, her husband was like ultra rich, and there's some like big scandal that her husband like paid for her to win an Oscar for Butterfly.
She didn't win an Oscar for Butterfly.
I think that was the one. Yeah.
Oh, she's an Academy Award winning actress?
I believe, or maybe it was a Golden Globe.
There's no
one of the two.
There's no fucking way.
But yeah, her husband like apparently paid for it, and it was before the movie even came out. Like, no one had even seen it yet. It's a Golden Globe. I just looked.
Okay, hold on. Awards. All right, she won the prestigious Golden Globe for New Star of the Year in a Motion. I had no idea that was even a fucking category.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. She won the worst from. She was a Razzie Award nominee for Voyage of the Rock Aliens, Butterfly, Fake Out, and The Lonely Lady. Probably because she didn't get naked in The Lonely Lady. You would think with a movie like The Lonely Lady, she would get naked for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the cover. You would think something was about to go down.
I remember, I think I saw the trailer for it on one of the cable stations, and like, oh yeah, I know what I'm gonna turn the volume down and watch The Lonely Lady. And then I was bored to death.
Yeah.
mostly bored to death. But yeah, Voyage of the Rock Aliens. I might have seen those movies before, but Voyage of the Rock Aliens is where she fulfilled her promise as an actress.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like she did a good job in it for, what it is.
I thought Craig Schaefer did a good job. He was really good at playing the asshole.
Hmm.
And he might have been the first asshole to get the girl in the end.
Yeah, that part just really made no sense either.
Well, no, they really really try to explain it by by she didn't want to go to a planet where no one would have emotions or be able to love, and it felt like they were trying to say something profound at the end. It just came off as kind of lost to me.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what? It's when the rain begins to fall. Now, I heard a rumor that you told your wife you want to redo your wedding, so that could be the song you dance to.
I want to come down the aisle to the Beast song.
Oh.
Just me coming down the aisle by myself.
Just to say wedding's been canceled. Let's party, bitches. No, I don't know. Again, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the music. I I've been listening to the soundtrack quite a bit that I'm afraid it's going to ruin my Spotify algorithm.
Oh yeah, it's done.
But it's such a catchy song. Like it's a fun movie, and I want people to see this. I want there to be a showing of it at a movie theater because I want to see it with a ton of people.
Hmm. Yeah, I think one thing that really benefited the movie, um, this is one of the things I discovered in my research. Um,
That's right, people. We do research.
yeah, I googled this once. Um,
That's because much like other YouTubers, we regurgitate shit that we find on the interwebs. But
no,
we offer our own personal spin.
yeah,
Yeah, and
I
and
think this is why the movie worked so well for me personally. Um, Apparently, this movie had a complete like script where it was not a musical, um, and the guy who ran the I think it was called Curb Records, kind of like bought some rights to it or became like executive producer or something, and kind of took it over, read the script, and was like, "Oh, this needs to be a musical." So they inserted a bunch of music into it, did some test shows, and it performed poorly. And he said, "Oh, we got to put even more music into this." So he like jam packed it with music. Um, the music video at the beginning with Jermaine Jackson like came out after the movie was like originally done, and the apparently the music video and the song were a hit, so he was like, "Oh yeah, let's just smack this right at the beginning of the movie." And it's never mentioned again the whole rest of the movie.
which is weird
Yeah.
because the music video, I wanted to see more of that world.
Yeah, same.
But in
And it's
a way that's the charm because it kind of made that song universal where it went from planet to planet
mhm.
and it became the ultimate love song. Even though she chose an abusive asshole who supposedly changed his ways. And as soon as the movie is over, he went back to being an abusive asshole.
Yeah. I think one thing we could take away from that though is that Voyage of the Rock Aliens kickstarted the metaverse or the multiverse.
No, no.
Yeah, that took place in a different universe. That opening scene.
Well, they weren't even on Earth.
Yeah,
It was a different planet
it
that
could have been
had
Earth, just in a different universe.
maybe. All right, we are forgetting quite possibly one of the dumbest yet greatest subplots with the guys from the mental hospital.
Yeah,
um, and the love story between Alison LaPlaca and Michael Berryman's character, which was wrong on so many levels. Weren't all these people in high school?
They were, yeah, they were,
And
yeah,
she willingly went off with a guy who was completely and utterly insane.
yeah. I think that those two um, might have been my favorite characters in the movie, though. They had no point in even being in the movie, but I feel like they really stole the show, especially the one who was like carting her around his life support equipment the entire time.
um, some fun facts about Alison LaPlaca. Um, she had a has well, she hasn't done anything since 2014 when she was on an episode of Mom, but she has been in a lot of stuff, including some shows that I watched when I was a kid. She was on shit. Let's start at the beginning. Um, she was in possibly one of the greatest movies of all time, Fletch.
Okay, wasn't sure which one you were going to go with there.
Um, she was also on the series. She was a regular on one of the first Fox series called Duet, and then that show kind of spun off into a series called Open House about a real estate company, and she was on that. Um, all right, please don't hate me for this. She was on one of my favorite sitcoms that only lasted a season, and it's in Shout Factory. I know you don't watch this because really nobody does, but you need to release the Jackie Thomas show.
I
And
don't
she
know
was
if
on the Tom Arnold's other show, Tom, which I never knew existed. And she was on 3 episodes of Friends.
hmm,
And then she kind of
which
just made.
ones?
I don't know. I don't watch Friends. I've never seen an episode of it. But no, she's someone who's been kind of, she's been kind of all over the place and has had a career for a while. But it was really interesting to see her in one of her early roles, in quite possibly her weirdest role in a love story with Michael Berryman. And that's what I remember when I saw this on cable, is that he was the guy from the poster from The Hills Have Eyes,
Yeah.
and a movie I was not allowed to see, but I saw it when I was in college. Don't tell my mom because she's dead.
Oh.
She'll haunt me. I told you not to watch this movie. But you spent money and bought the deluxe Arrow Blu-ray of it. Why? Why? And its subpar sequel. Why? But it's interesting. Michael Berryman has really good comedic timing, as shown in this movie and in the as where he played post-apocalyptic biker in Weird Science, and in the classic Motley Crue video, Smoking in the Boys' Room. Why wasn't he cast in more comedies? He could have been a star. He could have been more than a
Yeah.
genre star.
Yeah, that's unfortunately how it seems things go.
But
Get
let's
stuck in
talk
one.
about the band. Let's talk about the Alien Band, and let's talk about Craig Schaefer's band. Which one would you pay money to see?
Um, well, I don't know if you knew, but they were both real bands. And that's why none of these other cast members went on to do anything else.
I should
um,
I should have done the research and watched the special features.
but I enjoyed the obvious Devo ripoff.
As did I. As did I. Now,
Who I believe their name was Rama, I think.
I thought it was Reamer.
Something, yeah, something like that. And the other one was like some kind of stallions.
There, and I should preface. I think I said earlier. I tried rewatching yesterday, but I did not sleep the night before, so I kept on falling asleep during it.
Hmm.
And that's nothing about the movie. I was just really tired, and I had a show last night at 11:30 p.m., which is way too. I have not had a late night show since pre-COVID. So yeah, hopefully they'll let me do it again because I did okay last night.
Yeah.
But um, no, but there were some great throwaway lines in this movie, and I was hoping Internet Movie Database might. Usually they have quotes, but there was nothing. Oh, there it is.
Um,
There, hold on, there they are. Oh, we should also talk about Ruth Gordon.
yeah, very, very weird role.
All right, yeah, this was one of those. Does your instrumentation reveal any intelligent life form? Life form, yes. Intelligent, no. Hey, you, cute little grease monkey. How would you like to tickle my carburetor? Sorry, exhaust breath. I don't work on compacts. I'm going to the ladies' room. Try not to kill anyone before I get back. And quite possibly, this line could have saved the environment. From Diane, someone should tell Babs to stop using that industrial strength hairspray.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of good lines in this. A lot of good just like random parts too.
I'm not a fan of remakes. I would like to see someone remake this movie. Oh no, no, forget that, forget that. I would like to see someone put on a stage production of this movie.
That would be nice.
I think it has. I think it has. I think it's the most unvinegar syndrome like release that they've put out. Um, I think they put it out because Michael Berryman was in it. I don't know this for a fact, but it's one that I thought that was going to get no attention, but it turns out everyone loves it, including Master Chaos, who for some reason him and his wife are going to perform a duet of "When the Rain Begins to Fall."
Okay, like a music video or
I hope so. I mean, him and Michael Keane seem to have the technical acumen to put together something like that. And I hope they do, and I hope it's fucking cringeworthy. Much like this movie. All right. How many rock stars, I'm sorry, how many guitar shaped spaceships would you give this film?
I'm gonna go a little high on this one. I had a really good time with it. Like you said, went into it with no expectations. Um, was very pleasantly surprised by how much music was in it, and I've kind of got a thing for musicals,
Me too. Me too.
especially weird ones. So I'm gonna go. I think for me personally, I'm gonna go four.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed. I'm going five.
Oh, okay, okay.
Actually, take it back. I'm going to go 4.5. I think what could make this movie and this better. I wish they were able to interview Pia Zadora and Craig Schaefer.
Hmm.
Now I don't know because I didn't watch the special features, but I didn't see their names listed anywhere in there.
No, they weren't.
That's too bad. I think it's time to rediscover the works of Craig Schaefer beyond Some Kind of Wonderful and Nightbreed.
One thing I would have really liked to have seen that would have taken the score up a little more for me was so the high school is apparently just getting overtaken by this huge tentacle monster the entire time, and no one acknowledges it until the last like 10 minutes of the movie. I think it would have been cool for some sort of like, you know, alien band battle like defeated the tentacle monster.
I totally forgot about the
Yeah.
tentacle monster. Now that you were kind of putting the movie in some sort of context that this was originally something else, and then they
Hmm.
started adding music to it, which I always think is kind of the kiss of death when you're trying to change something from what originally was. I
Yeah.
think so. I think in my lifetime there have been two exceptions to that. There has been this movie and originally The Cable Guy, which, from what I remember reading, was originally supposed to be a horror film.
The cable guy was.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Then Ben Stiller got a hold of it.
Mm.
I also heard at one point Chris Farley was attached to it to play the Cable Guy.
I don't think it would have been as good.
It would have been different,
Yeah.
and Voyage of the Rock Aliens probably had a very different name when it was called Voyage. Because without
Yeah.
music, them being called Rock Aliens makes no sense.
Yeah. So I want to say that like um yeah, what was the title that came up at the very beginning? Like,
When the rain begins to fall.
okay. So yeah, I feel like the original script must have had something to do with like I'm gonna say like acid rain because the movie, the parts that don't have music in them, has a very like global warming kind of like theme going on to it. Like the lake, which I'm pretty sure they were well, they called it Lake Erie, so I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be Lake Erie and that was supposed to be Cleveland, which how dare them. Um
What are you talking about? Cleveland rocks.
yeah, but I think that like it was supposed to have this thing about like pollution, global warming kind of. They were throwing surfboards into the lake and they were dissolving. There was some huge tentacle monster coming out of it. And at the end, the aliens, what did they say? Earth needs some alien persuasion or something, and he just cures pollution and everything. So I feel like that was supposed to be the original the original story going in this movie.
Huh.
So it would have been cool to see some more of that happening, but I was happy with what we got.
Yeah, let's talk about before we kind of conclude this. Let's talk about the director of this movie, James Fargo, who is still making movies and TV shows. Do you know what other movies he made?
I know that he did a couple Clint Eastwood movies. I'm pretty sure one was the one with the orangutan.
It was the greatest Clint Eastwood movie of all time, Every Which Way But Loose.
Yeah, which I thought was funny that the sheriff had a framed picture of Clint Eastwood on her desk.
He played one of the greatest cops of all time, the Harry of Dirty.
Yes.
But he also made Forced Vengeance with
Ooh.
Charles Norris. He directed 2 episodes of the Indiana Jones ripoff series Tales of the Gold Monkey,
Hmm.
1 episode of the A-Team, 3 episodes of The Forgotten Scarecrow and Mrs. King, an episode of Sidekicks starring Gil Gerard and Ernie Reyes Jr., 5 episodes of Hunter, and 2 episodes of the classic Fox television show Beverly Hills 90210. And according to oh no. And according to IMDb, he's in pre-production for a movie called Any Which Way They Come, which before I clicked on it, I thought was a sequel to a new Clint Eastwood orangutan
Yeah.
movie.
Is it not?
No, it stars somebody else, and then something
Not
called
in, not
Veil of
interested.
Justice. No, you know what? I think Clint Eastwood has been making, oh, I'm a serious actor now. I'm making all these Academy Award contending films. And my thought is, Clint, let's go back in time. Let's revisit a movie where you were a prize fighting truck driver and you hung around with an orangutan. That orangutan probably had kids that you helped raise. Let's let's bring this series back. Let's bring it full circle so you can hand it off to like Colin Farrell because he seems like he would be the best actor to carry on the tradition of man and orangutan.
Yeah, I can see that.
In fact, one of us needs to get a job at a studio to greenlight that project right fucking now. I would pay good money for that. Not it's not like put the Rock in there. Rock would be good, but he would overshadow the orangutan. You need an actor who can work, who makes a partnership with the orangutan seem like a good idea.
Yeah, Colin Farrell.
Colin
Obvious.
Farrell. I mean, he's one of the greatest actors of our time. Or Benjamin Affleck, who is
You
the
don't think
greatest
you don't
actor
think
of.
Ben Affleck would overshadow the orangutan too much?
Ben Affleck is that kind of actor where he can give a more subdued performance.
What about starring Ben Affleck, but starring Matt Damon as the orangutan?
No, no. Would he be wearing would he be wearing an orangutan costume?
Yeah, it would be like Planet of the Apes makeup.
No, because the orangutan shouldn't talk. It should just give gestures. And
Well, yeah, he won't talk. It'll
Matt,
just
Matt,
be it'll just be Matt Damon.
Matt Damon is an actor who needs to talk. He
Yeah,
needs to talk.
I'd watch it.
Yeah. So, I don't know which co-host is going to be with us next week, but you know what I'm thinking we should talk about?
Um, is it Thriller?
No, I'm not ready to talk about that one yet.
Cloak and Dagger?
We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks, but I want to kind of keep.
I'm just going down the list of You want to keep with what? Musical numbers?
I think we should talk. We should journey down to Central Florida's hottest nightclub and talk
Night at the
about.
Roxbury?
No, that was in California, and we should bring the sounds of Dragon Sound to this show. We should talk about Miami Connection.
More than down. That was going to be my next one. You cut me off too soon.
Because you know what? Friends forever, honesty, loyalty will stick together through thick or thin. Yeah, we need to talk about Miami Connection because I have
Okay.
questions. I have questions. I've seen that movie way too many times, and yet I can watch it over and over. So we're going to talk about Miami Connection this week, and then the following week we are going to break down quite possibly another one of my favorite films of the year, one of my favorite discs of the year, Cloak and Dagger. I know I spoiled it. I just gave a spoiler right there that it's one of my favorite discs. It's everything Dead Heat wasn't.
Oh,
Sick fucking burn. All right, we'll see you
I haven't.
back with either Matt and I will be here for sure because we are the constants. We are the consistent members of this team. Because you know what? We haven't gotten COVID yet.
Yep.
I'm actually really scared that I might have been exposed to it last night because I forgot my I forgot my mask and I was on public transportation.
Yeah, there's a possibility.
And and yeah, I hope I don't. But there's I did not play it safe last night, and
Yeah. Hope for the best.
yeah. Have you had it?
I have not. No. I don't know how. I mean, I was double vaxxed and boosted, so I mean, maybe I caught it and just didn't know, but
Yeah, I
nothing
haven't.
with any symptoms yet.
Yeah, me neither. And when I tell people that, they're like, "What? How?
Yeah.
you're you are at risk for many, many reasons. Are you like Matt Damon in Contagion? Did you hold the cure in your blood the whole entire time? And nobody noticed because you were not around. You didn't. Your wife and stepson. I'm sorry. Your wife who cheated on you and your stepson both died from it right away. Was I the? Could I have been the? Could I have helped them make a vaccine earlier if all of that happened?
You maybe.
Yeah.
This is all your fault.
How is it my fault? I didn't go to Wuhan. Yeah. But I assure you, in our small listening base, there is still one person who's like, COVID ain't real.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Even though I've been sick, COVID ain't real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
All
luck
right.
with them vaccines.
Yeah. You know what? I don't want no microchips in me. I don't want the government to follow me around, know where I am 24/7.
Oh, that's cool. Do you have a cell phone?
I have a cell phone and I have a new car. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Don't get the vaccine.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked. I didn't realize they could trace my car until I realized the other day. It's like, because I had a shit car for the longest time. I haven't had any of this modern technology, but it tells me what the speed limit is on every road I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have directions, it's like, even though I'm like a mile over, you are going over the speed limit 30, camera ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it knows.
Yeah, I don't remember Kit being this annoying on Knight Rider. My car will, at some point, the cars will alert the police to where you are.
Yeah.
Robert is speeding. He needs a ticket now. Do you want to pay through Apple Pay? No. We will pull you over and make a spectacle of it.
It's all coming one day.
Our cars will police us. All right. I will see you next week when we discuss Miami Connection. And you know what? I'm pretty sure the members of Dragon Sound are still friends today.
You think so?
The song says it. They're friends forever. And they've
Okay.
been part of the reunions. I need to watch all the extra features on this one because I know there are a ton of better ones, and that's my
Yeah.
problem with 4K is the special features are not on the disc. I have to switch discs, and I'm too lazy to do that sometimes.
You just got to get 2 players.
Come on, man, that's overkill. All right, we'll talk. We'll see you guys next week. Or
Okay.
actually, you know what? By the time you see this, we might just put about a week of episodes because I've been really bad at putting them up. But
Put them up.
I will. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See you guys.